Welcome back. And do we have a surprise for you? We've got Kumaran Padayachee here with me in studio. And for those of you who don't know Kumaran Padayachee, where have you been? Kumaran Padayachee is the CEO of Spartan SME Finance and has been on the show for about 9 years with me many, many years ago before he decided to wander away. Welcome back. Always good to have you.
Good to be here.
So today we're going to talk about, what do you want to talk about?
You know, there's something that it's topical for me for a long time now is the map is not the terrain.
The map is not the terrain.
Now, I'll explain what I mean in one context, but it's a proxy. It's a proxy for other things. So often in our business, we've got a lending business. We're trying to remotely assess things using technology. Part of that is the physical construct of a business, or it could be a property development that we are funding. And you know, you've got Google Earth and all these maps. And so that's the map. It can be a map of it's a visual thing on a desktop. But when you go out there and you see the actual terrain and you realize the map is not the terrain.
Yeah.
Because the assumptions that you made, oftentimes I've seen the assumptions that I've made, I get there, it's either worse or more often it could be better, but that's a big part. And so I'm constantly thinking in other things, what is the map? The map is not the terrain, with this false assumptions. In this world of everything digital, which is it's our friend, and we live by that a lot in our business and how we do it. But there's an implicit flaw in that in some aspects.
And to just keep it physical, you know, we're involved in also property related business, and you look, as you say, at the property, or the numbers stack up, and then you go to the property and you realize this is a massive construction happening for the next 3 years, and you will never tenant that building. It was nowhere written, you know, anywhere, because when you look at it and look at the numbers, it all looks wonderful, but it looks wonderful for a reason. So, you know, physically going there. But related to that is you know, people, like actually physically meeting people, that you can have conversations with people, even on Teams. You know, there's a little bit of a barrier, but something magical happens when you are together, not between you and I. It's never magical, but where you will pick up something, either positive or negative, when you're in situ with somebody. There are those micro movements in the eye, the mouth, etc., where you'll pick up things that you wouldn't if you just were doing it on Teams or over the phone.
Both our processes, both our respective businesses, as the entrepreneur at the center, and part of that assessment is a physical thing. You know, in our business, we're interviewing them because the numbers can show you something which is good or bad, and there's business models you're trying to assess. But that human being and meeting them physically to interview them, to understand them, is very different from a phone. We do the Zoom, we do the Teams, it's part of our process. Multiple of those happens. But we won't make a final decision and disperse a loan until we've met them physically, maybe more than one. That's as a committee.
And for me, I do something even more, and I'm sure you do this. We meet physically. When we invest in a business, we'll actually go to the premises. So you want to see that in operation. I remember a story from my parents. My parents had an umbrella factory in Durban many years ago, and they were looking for funding from one of the banks. And the umbrella business is quite seasonal. So, you know, in summer it rains, in summer it's hot. So beach umbrellas and rain umbrellas happen. So it's very busy then, but not so much in winter. So the bank manager arrives, and both my parents were in the factory running up and down, carrying things up and down, and then lost sight of time that the bank manager was coming to, you know, to provide the loan. And eventually one of the staff came and said, you know, Mr. So-and-so is here. And he had been watching all of this, okay? And they walked in and said, so sorry, have they offered you tea or coffee? Can we talk about the loan? He said, don't worry, I've seen enough, you've got the loan. And that whole thing about seeing in situ what's going on. But I've seen the opposite as well, where you go there and you just get you get the opposite. You see the opposite, whatever it's saying. You see either how they treat their staff or their staff treat them, or this is not a business.
Sometimes it's staged for you.
Yeah, correct. And a
Often it is.
trick there is often that I see, and I've seen people do it to me, is that they come early, very early, like half an hour early, and they just sit in reception and they watch, before the staging might be set up.
Yes. So the map is not the terrain. What is that a proxy for? It's many things. It's for me, the thing I learned there is that always check your assumptions in a different way. Because if I check the map, if we're using an example being a property thing as just an example, but it doesn't have to be that. And then you look at that and you make certain assumptions, you go out there and you realize there's more information. My assumptions are wrong, so it helps you, that alternative perspective helps you check your assumptions. And then you're making bad decisions based on the wrong assumptions. You need a mechanism to interrogate your assumption. And so if you're looking at something only through a screen, your assumptions are based on that thing. But if you're checking it with a physical perspective, your assumptions now can be interrogated. That's what I mean.
And I just want to talk about the assumptions that you come in with. Is there like a checklist of assumptions? I'm assuming this. Do you walk in with a checklist of assumptions, or they're just general assumptions?
It's both. For me, you have to be purposeful about. You're talking about a checklist.
Yeah.
You have to be purposeful about that. And then the paradox is you got to have a mindset to have that is a problem. So it's almost an engineering structured way, and then the biological, abstract, intuitive way. Because, the checklist, you fall into a trap of compliance and you're blinded actually. Because what that looks like, I use this example, I'm at a robot, it's green, it's my right of way, that's a compliance issue, I will drive through the green robot, compliance. But then that truck is coming down awfully fast. But damn it, it's my right of way, it's green. Now, where does the abstract intuition kick in to say, you think his brakes failed? He may not be able to stop. So this compliance thing can be a danger. It blinds you in a way. So you need to have both, is what I'm saying. There's a play.
I got it. And we now have to be compliant with the director. Okay. And so we have to bring this segment and the show to an end. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I have, even with Kumaran Padayachee. Just joking, just a different perspective. And that's it. So do remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.